Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Wrestling Diaries, the podcast show for the average Joe, the inspiration station, blue collar conversation. Check us out on all the audio streams, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Radio Public, and a host of others that have audio podcasts. Leave us a review, helps show up in the algorithm so we can get our message out there to the wonderful wide world. And for the video content, go to YouTube, like, share, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell right there for more content. We release a couple times a week. Today I have a very special guest on the podcast show for the average Joe. Ladies and gentlemen, JJ, the Dancing Master Butler!
Let's go. That's right.
Boom, boom.
Great intro. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Well, I tell this to you might have heard this in one of the previous episodes, but because people think this is about wrestling, professional wrestling.
Right.
So I'm like, oh, I'm just going to give like a little
It's the let's get ready to rumble.
Yeah. Try to do
I got you.
So, thanks for coming on the show today, dude.
Man, it's an honor.
Have you ever done podcast or radio or anything like that before?
No, I haven't.
Oh,
But I love talking.
popping your cherry about it right now.
Yeah, I feel like this is just going to be a lot of fun.
So I'll give people a quick little background story on you and I. We met at the men's retreat.
Level Up.
Yep, Level Up. We had Mr. Brandon Snipes who hosts those events, and that's where we met, and we kind of hit it off, talking about nerd culture stuff.
All of it.
And just general things. You just became a dad also. And that's
yes,
something that we have
5 weeks into that.
Yeah, so tell us about that. How does it feel to be a new papa, man?
It is indescribable, really. And that's what a lot of people told me, is that words can't really describe the feeling of being a parent, and that really rings true. And just the amount of love that pours out when the baby shows up is just incredible. I've never felt like that in my entire life.
Were you scared going into, I guess, your wife's water breaking and all that stuff? Did it hit you then, or was it before that, or was it when you're in the hospital? Or?
Well, I guess I'll just dive right into that then.
All right.
Her water never broke. Baby cooked for 40 weeks, and water did not break. So we went in for a scheduled induction, and we got there at 5 a.m. and we went from about 0 to 3 centimeters within the first hour, and then nothing. We have to get to about 10 centimeters for things to happen.
Right.
So she's pushing for 5 hours straight.
Jeez,
we finally get the epidural. She bought these combs from a pharmacy that she's squeezing so that she can kind of counter the pain that's happening and the contractions.
Yeah.
And then she's having me just like basically punch her back. I'm pushing as hard as I can to kind of help her deal with the pain. And she's doing it was almost like Wim Hof, her doing these breathing exercises and trying to handle that. So it got to the point where we had the only option, and the safest option was a C-section.
Right. Dang, after 5 hours,
after 5 hours. So she basically gave birth and had a C-section. Jeez. That's how crazy that day was.
Poor girl.
Yeah. Was I scared? Not really, because that's how much I trust my wife. Lauren is her name. And she just proves again and again just to be a champion at her role at being a mother. And it started from 5 a.m. that day. It was really cool.
Nice. What's your, tell everybody your daughter's name, if you would.
My daughter's name is Lennon Ray Butler.
Lennon Ray Butler. She sounds like a movie star.
Yeah, she is. She's my little movie star.
Can I ask, like, what's the story behind the name? Is there anything that influenced it?
Well, Lauren really liked the name Lennon, and I've always been a fan of the Beatles. I grew up with them via my father, who has a bass guitar just like Paul McCartney.
Oh, word.
So I've just grown up with that music, and it's probably my all-time favorite band. And so when she said the name Lennon, I was all on board. And then Ray is after my dad, Raymond. And Lennon Ray just rang so true, and we loved it. And
I like it, man.
That's it.
It's super cool. Yeah. Interesting thing, I don't know if of course you had to have realized this, but as a Beatles fan, and then also as a huge Spider-Man fan, you know, like the next like animated movies coming out, it's called Across the Spider-Verse.
Right.
I was like, I wonder where they got the influence for that name from.
I wonder.
But so yeah, how far along is, or not far along, but how old is your baby girl now? Like,
she is 5.5 weeks.
Okay. Just a little over a month.
Yeah.
Has she done any new things that have surprised you? You're like, oh my gosh, look at what she's doing.
She's starting to smile intentionally. And maybe a tiny giggle here and there.
Yeah.
That just melts me all over again.
I'm sure, especially if you're causing it, like you're doing a face or you're talking to her or something.
And especially when I don't mean to make her laugh and she just cracks that smile at me, I just melt like an ice cube.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
So another thing, we're just skipping around on topics here, but it's whatever, dude.
Yeah, it's whatever. Let's just
you are a dancer, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's not an exotic dancer, although you might be or might have been. I don't know. You look like you could be.
I'm not going to answer that question. Just leave it to the listener.
But so, like, tell people what your profession is. Because when I was at the retreat, I was like, wait, what does this guy do? Like, you were talking about, like, being on a movie set and being in New York. I was like, what does this cat do? And it was like, oh, he's a dancer. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, I didn't know if you were an actor, like, all that other. And when I found out you were a dancer, I was like, oh, interesting. I could see that. You have that look, I guess.
Yeah.
There's a stereotype for guys that dance.
Sure. I don't know. But if I'm starting from the top, I've been dancing since I was 7. My mom is a dance teacher. My older sister grew up dancing, and they asked me when I was 7, do you want to dance? And I said, yeah. And next thing you know, they're slapping tap shoes and ballet shoes on my feet. And then I'm in the studio dancing. And I pretty much grew up my entire life, all through high school, through college. I majored in dance. And it's just kind of been a part of me for as long as I can remember. There's been spurts in there where I kind of lost my passion for it and I wanted to quit it altogether. But ultimately, I majored at the University of Alabama for dance. And then from there, I got a scholarship to go to Broadway Dance Center up in New York City.
Oh, that's the New York connection.
And it was a program called the Professional Semester, which basically they take you in and you just take class. You take class, you meet with agents type of things, and you just train for 4 months. So they kind of prep you for auditions and agencies and all the types of things. So from that, I got signed with an agency. And then from there, it was audition until I get a yes, which takes a while.
Right. Yeah. So it almost kind of works as in being an actor in a way. Right?
Oh, yeah. You got to be able to do everything.
You audition and then you have to have an agency to represent you and get you, I guess, gigs or something.
You got to sing, you got to act, got to dance.
Wow.
If you're going to make it these days, you got to be able to do at least a little bit of everything.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what kind of dance is it? I used to take ballroom dancing, so I don't...
I heard that when you were talking to Brandon about that.
Yeah, because I was taking ballroom dancing and martial arts, and then both my instructors wanted me to do more of the other. Yeah. And then they critiqued me doing, like, the girl was like, oh, you're not going to find a date beating people up. And then my buddy was like, oh, you're not going to protect yourself dancing. And it was...
You never know. You might kung fu your way to love.
Maybe. Yeah, I'll waltz myself. I'll be like Zach from Power Rangers back in the 90s where he's like dance fighting and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, he figured it out. So
what's that Zoolander? He's like, oh my gosh, they're break dance fighting.
Yeah.
That's what I'll do.
That is a thing.
And then I'll probably just end up getting shot and that would be it. They're like, oh, he was trying to break dance fight this guy and then he just got shot.
Pow.
That's it. Done.
Yeah.
So I guess walk us through like what a job would be like for you in this field. Like you do like a music video, like you go and you dance or you like, and then they send you money. Like, I don't know. Like, because I'm never met anybody like you before.
It all depends on the gig. And the thing is, you're always looking for the next thing because one gig can last a weekend. It can last 6 months. It can last a year.
Like a movie. So it's really, it's really dabbling in that big time.
You're always looking for the next thing because everything is very seasonal. So I've worked at Busch Gardens in Virginia. I did that for 4 months, and I've done TV shows like America's Got Talent and Saturday Night Live, which were just more weekend gigs.
Right.
I went to China and did a TV show over there, which was really, really cool. And then I did a national tour of Saturday Night Fever, and that lasted 6 months. So
is it like the stage play of the movie?
Yes.
Like, okay.
It's pretty terrible. But
okay. Oh well, there goes my weekend.
Yeah. Right. Well, more on that later. But basically, the gist is you go into a room and you'll audition. Depending on what they need, you'll either sing or they'll dance or vice versa. And then they'll call you in for the other thing if they like you. A lot of times you just hear no. They'll look at your headshot resume, flip it over.
Do you have like a headshot resume? Yeah, this is exactly the same. It's the same industry. It's like, I only know this because I dabbled into acting like a little bit and a little modeling.
Your 8x10 headshot, slapped against your resume on the back. They generally do this once or twice and then throw it back. We'll keep you on file.
I got to tell you a quick funny story offset of this. When I was like I went to Orlando for this event for like commercial stuff and like a little bit of like print modeling stuff.
Okay.
And I was there and I got a couple callbacks and one of the guys was like, he's like, hey, you need a headshot, man. And we need like a picture of your profile and stuff. You got to get that. So just come back tomorrow and then like bring this. And I was like 18, I think at the time, 17 or 18. And I was like, I didn't really understand what a headshot meant. So I just like my buddy, we had this Polaroid camera. I bought this Polaroid camera from like a CBS. I like posed like, all these stupid
you did the
poses.
hand and everything.
Yeah.
That's funny.
And then like he took this and then we went and like developed it at like CBS. I taped it to my paper resume. I taped it. It's just like, just 18-year-old me. And I'm just like this terrible, horrible Polaroid. It's not. And I'm just like, doing this, and I bring it back to this guy, and he grabs it, and he's like, "Oh, you got your headshot. That's odd. Did you have someone fax it?" And then he like stops in mid sentence, and he looks at it, and then he looks up at me, and he's like, "Yeah, this isn't gonna work."
That's so funny. Wow, he told you it wasn't gonna work.
He's like, "Yeah, this is not gonna work. We need a better headshot than this, man. This is not a headshot. Is this just you and like it's like a picture somebody took of you, or
that's so
you got out
funny.
of your mom's photo album?" It was terrible. But no, I had a chance to move out to there was this company that wanted to represent me, but I was like, "Oh, we need you to move out to LA. We'll represent you and get you gigs and all this stuff." And I got cold feet. I was like, I don't know. I don't want to move away from my mom. My mom needs me. She didn't need me.
It's tough, man.
And
yeah, it really is tough.
And then after that, I was like, I really started getting into my like punk rock. Like me and Matt here, we started getting in our punk rock days, like really like later, like in my late teens and my early 20s, we were going to all these shows and stuff, and I was like, you know what, that, like, I don't like, that's like, forget that industry, man, that's not punk rock. And like, yeah.
Were y'all gonna be in a band together?
I was in a band. Excuse me. I was in a band. Matt actually recorded bands. He would record
like how he's recording us now.
Yeah, exactly. He would record bands here in his house. He also worked the soundstage at one of the music venues that we frequented.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. Gotcha. Yeah, that was my stint in entertainment. I've been in a couple movies though, like as just like extra work, nothing like no minor speaking roles or anything like that. There was a movie called I think it's Bigger. I never really followed up with it after that, but it was a movie about the is it Welder brothers that created the like workout equipment, and they also founded Arnold Schwarzenegger, which I didn't know. I learned that from doing the movie. But yeah, it was in downtown Birmingham they did it like the Lyric Theater and the Alabama Theater and some other locations. And I got to dress up. Matt was actually, he was in the movie with me as well.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah. We dressed up in these 60s and 70s garb and like, yeah. Had all these super huge, jacked, muscle bound, oiled up dudes in Speedos walking around eating chicken breast out of the plastic Tupperware tub. Yeah. It was a mess, man. But yeah, I did that, and then some like local stuff that nobody would know, like some local like indie films around like Birmingham. But I have a friend of mine that like works in the movie industry. She's like, I don't really know how to describe what she does. She works for herself, but she goes to movie sets and she sets up like she does like photography and then she sets up scenes or something. I don't know, but she travels all around doing
There's so much to these movies these days.
Yeah, there's like so many working.
All those names you see in the credits.
Yeah. All these working parts. There's like literally just somebody like, oh, what does this guy do? Oh, he gets paid to he just stands there and he holds that pencil for about 5 hours a day.
You're right.
I feel like that's what it is.
Yeah,
now.
He gets in the credits of the newest Spider-Man movie for doing that.
So what's the biggest like movie? Well, what's the biggest gig you've ever gotten booked on?
I guess Saturday Night Live was probably one of my biggest gigs.
Was that?
That was 2017, I believe, or early 2018. I can't remember. It was a take on Kellyanne Conway, and it was a spoof on the show Chicago. Okay. Which is a song. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that.
Yeah, Chicago, absolutely.
Roxy was the song, but instead of saying Roxy, they would say Conway, and they would kind of sing about Kellyanne and her whole.
That's the parody of
it, yeah. Through Trump's organization and all that. It was pretty funny.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you dance for that. That's cool.
Yeah. Those are so crazy too, because that was just something that my agency sent me and said, can you do it? And I was lucky enough to be one of the first people to respond. So that's how I kind of got that gig. But these auditions, depending on what they are, so I'll go to America's Got Talent next. That was the hardest audition of my life. super intricate street jazz hip hop combo. And when I got the phone call, all they needed me to do was stand in a tuxedo and basically be a prop in the background.
So you weren't even moving. You weren't even putting your expertise to good use.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, I got paid a lot of money just to stand in a Calvin Klein tuxedo. So that was fine with me.
Sign me up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Brother.
So that was another fun gig. I did the TV show in China, which was really, really fun.
What was that?
So this was I'll tell you what I was able to understand, I guess, because everything, of course, is in Mandarin.
Yeah.
But I get a phone call from some of my mentors over at Broadway Dance Center who I did the program with.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, hey, they're shooting a TV show in China and we need boys to go and dance and be in the show. Yeah, of course I want to do that.
Oh, yeah.
Sign me up. So as soon as I say yes to that, things are moving really quickly. So they bring me and my friend Daniel in, who I then realized he was from Huntsville, Alabama, and we had not met prior. And we're two little Bama boys flying to China together.
Nice.
Anyways, we're sitting in Roll Tide. That's kind of the key to the story, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Which you'll hear in a second. So we are filling out all this paperwork. We have to have a dance. We have to have a song. We have to have a team name. So I'm looking at my friend Daniel and I'm saying, what's our team name going to be? You want to just be Roll Tide? Yeah, let's be Roll Tide. So we wrote down Roll Tide.
Nice.
Didn't think anything else of it. We fly to China. We rehearse for probably about a week. And this TV show is basically America's best dance crew. And So You Think You Can Dance kind of combined. So there's group numbers, there's soloists type of things. And the final round is China versus USA. That's what that we came in to do the final couple episodes.
Yeah.
So they do their dances, we do our dances. And before we go on, they're all speaking in Mandarin. And half of the LED screen is the American flag. And the other half is the Chinese flag. And they're just spitting Mandarin into that microphone, like pretty angrily, like getting really intense about it. I don't know what they're saying. As far as I know, we're about to fight.
The rivalry continues.
Yeah, the rivalry continues indeed. And then next thing you know, we go off and they're introducing us. And he goes, "She, Roll Tide," into the mic. And then all these LED screens and there's these, there's these signs that are rotating and they have the word Roll Tide.
Oh my gosh.
On as they're rotating around. So we got Roll Tide blasted on Shanghai Chinese national television, and me and my friend Daniel are just losing it in the background because what do they know about Alabama football?
Right.
You know?
Then here it is being represented in another nation.
So we get out there, we're trying to hold it together, and it went off really, really well. But that's kind of my claim to fame. She, which means thank you, and then Roll Tide. She, Roll Tide.
Are there like video? Like can you see these things? How do you see?
I actually have a video of that.
Okay. Because when this show comes out, I want to like maybe post a link so people can see.
Yeah, I'll send you that video.
Stuff.
It was kind of hard to find because it was obviously we were in Shanghai, so stuff's kind of just hard to find. But I do have a video of it. I'll give it to you.
That's so cool. Dude, you live such an interesting life. That's another reason why I liked you. It wasn't even just the Spider-Man connection. I was
I've done a lot of fun stuff.
This guy just seems like a very interesting cat. Like he's been all over the place. How long did you live in New York for, by the way?
7 years.
7 years.
Mm-hmm.
So why did you end up coming back to Bama? Or you are originally from here, right?
I was born in Nashville.
Okay.
And then when I was about 3 years old, moved to Birmingham.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was basically in Birmingham until I went to New York.
Yeah. And then for 7 years. And then, so why did you end up coming back here?
2020. Do I need to say any more than that? Yeah. COVID kind of knocked us out.
COVID knocked you out.
We went to Kansas where my wife, Lauren, that's where she's from. We went there at the start of COVID. And we were going to go for Mother's Day. We were going to go for 2 weeks. And that was right when things had shut down. We're still learning all this new information. And 2 weeks turned into 3 months. And 3 months turned into a very long summer. And we had to make the hard decision that we had to get out because there was not a lot we could go back to. You couldn't audition. Broadway was completely shut down. I had a job that maybe I could go back to. So it was just too many variables that were not, in our favor to hang around and try to pay that rent. Right. And they were going to up our rent too, for heaven's sake.
Jeez.
Yeah. And we're paying just so much money for 600 square feet.
Yeah.
So that was ultimately why we left. We just couldn't survive. We saw no way of surviving it. And it doesn't look like, so much has changed between now and then, now that we have a daughter. So it looks like we're hanging around here for a little while, which, I'm fine with.
Cool.
I think.
Yeah. I mean, but you've got like gigs and stuff lined up here, right? Or are you teaching maybe?
Yeah, teaching is, I guess, my ultimate passion through all of this dancing. I love to choreograph. That's probably what I love to do the most. So I've been able to do a lot of that down here. I'm kind of all over the state doing that.
Nice.
But yeah, I've been fortunate to just be able to keep up my creative flow down here in the Bama.
So I think it goes without saying that you met your lovely wife through dancing. Like she's a dancer too as well.
Yeah,
is that right?
we actually we hit it off doing the tour of Saturday Night Fever.
Okay.
We kind of known each other prior to that.
Just through circles.
Yeah. Actually, funny story. She was dating a guy I lived with, and I was dating someone else at the time, and that was kind of our first impression of each other as we're dating other
Just
people.
Other people.
Yeah. And then about a year later, we got on the tour, and rest is history. Now we have a baby girl.
Wow. That's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
And that's cool too, because she's like in the same industry that you are. So you understand each other's pain, you understand what's going on. Plus, obviously, you can push each
100%.
other to be better at your craft, and work together and stuff. That's really cool, dude.
Yeah.
Power couple, man.
Yeah.
Power couple represent.
She is a rock star. I know she's anxious to get back going with, just having a baby and haven't been able to move around too much, but she's eager to get back to at least stretching,
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I bet
because she's insane.
Somebody who's like super active like that, I know it takes a lot of them to like be not bedridden per se, but not be able to get back and do the things that they're doing.
Right.
So,
right.
I mean, that obviously kind of represents her as well as you, because it's your craft, your profession, your
and she's the other side of my brain too. So when I get stuck creating choreography, I always go to her for help, and she can still help me for the most part. But there's nothing like being in the studio together and seeing your bodies in the mirror kind of moving around. It's just, it's a night and day difference.
Yeah, I can't imagine how great your sex life is.
It's pretty good.
Sorry for putting you on the spot. Your wife's gonna be like, well, "Who is this guy? Why would he say that?"
Oh man, no, she's a pretty open book as well.
Sweet.
Yeah.
So, you at Level Up, how did you get? And I'm sure you probably told me this when we all chatted and talked about different things at the retreat. But how did you? What's the story behind you doing the Level Up retreat that we met at?
So I met Brandon at Battle Republic, which is
the boxing
gym, which I'm sure you've heard plenty about. And we just immediately connected just about on every level. So I've always just felt drawn to Brandon. I said at the retreat, I felt like I had known him for a really long time, even though we had just met. And he actually taught my younger brother, Mario, Bible back in the day.
Okay. Yeah. He's a school teacher.
Yeah, he was a school teacher. So Mario's known him for a little bit. So, and he does music. It was just kind of a matter of time before we met and connected.
Yeah, the stars aligned.
Yeah. So that was kind of what hit it off there. And then he invited me to one of the treats. I couldn't go on the one prior to that.
That was me. The one prior, because my buddy Giorgio went and he wanted me to go, but I couldn't make it.
Giorgio, my man. What's up, dude?
Yeah, scheduling was weird. But yeah, look at that.
Yeah. So I got to go on the next one.
I was talking to Seth about this, and I was like, it's so crazy. Like, we're sitting here talking, and we're pals, because me and Seth keep up with each other pretty well now. And I was like, it's just like, because he almost didn't go on the last retreat, right? Because he was like, he had a gig that I think was supposed to do in Chicago, but then he ended up pushing it back, and he went to the retreat anyway.
Yeah.
And then I almost didn't make the last one myself, just because some other things going on. But I was like, I'm just gonna do this. I need to do this. I'd like to check it out, push myself with some stuff. And so we were like, oh yeah, can you imagine if you would have taken that job in Chicago, or I went last time, so I didn't go this time? Like we wouldn't be sitting here, we wouldn't be pals, we wouldn't be friends, hanging out. Like,
so many variables that could have put us in different places.
I love to sit back every once in a while and tinker in my brain about those things, about like, what if I don't step out the door 5 minutes prior to that? What happens there? And just like, this vast web of possibility.
Right.
But so you went to what in the retreat, in lieu of the retreat, what was the biggest thing that you took away from that? I guess I'm assuming that you'd never done anything like that before.
Not really, or I guess, or maybe it had just been a while. Mm-hmm. It was really after the retreat. I had huge withdrawals afterwards. I don't know if you kind of went through that.
It reminded me of being in, and Matt knows what I'm talking about with this, but we went to like a youth camp when we were like younger, like teenagers. Like we went there for like a week, and we met like new people from all around like the southeastern area, like people we made really good friends with, and we saw them every day. We ate lunch with them, we did games with them and competitions and hung out and talked about music and just different things. And then we're all getting on the bus after a week and we're leaving, man. And like some of those people we never saw again. And it's so sad.
It's crazy.
But go on. You're talking about the withdrawals.
The withdrawals. I think the biggest thing I took away from it was the camaraderie behind it. I needed you guys ultimately. I'd spent the last year moving around, not knowing where the heck I'm going to go. I had severed some relationships in New York that were not good. Mm-hmm. So, just feeling a little alone. I've always had my family, which I'm super tight with, but just having just a group of guys, I feel like I really needed. And I didn't really realize I needed that until after the retreat happened. And I think that's why the withdrawals were so huge. And I'm always messaging the group, I'm like, what are you guys doing? And then I'm having this baby and then all the things. But I needed you guys ultimately.
Yeah. We created, it was brotherhood, man. It was about brotherhood.
There's nothing like it.
Yeah. It was really special. Like we fought together, we played together, we meditated together, we sang and laughed and cried together. It was like
literally every emotion about
it's really crazy.
3 days.
In 3 days. Like it's all just jam packed. I feel like we could have been there for a month with each other.
Yeah, I mean that's how it felt like.
Getting to know each other and all of our idiosyncrasies. And it was great, man. It was good stuff. I feel like people need stuff like that periodically in their life because it helps show them how wonderful human relationship can be
100%.
with even total strangers. Because I didn't know, I knew Brandon, I knew Giorgio, and I don't think I didn't know anybody. Everybody else was complete brand new people to me.
Same. I knew Caleb and Brandon. Yeah. And I think that was it.
100% strangers. Yeah. And I was just like, but I was like, I like this. So there's so many different personalities here, people that do different things.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's something that really helps you grow as a person, right? Because you need that nuance. So
Yeah,
dude. It's really cool.
That's why I'm glad we're together now because I've just been craving it.
Yeah, and hopefully, as
someone talk to me.
you're recovering from the just having the new baby and stuff. Maybe it's like things your wife heals up and things get a little bit better. We can kind of like connect a little bit more or something. I don't know.
I'm saying, man, we got to get the Spidey group together.
Yeah. Oh, so let's talk about that. So, so obviously, we at the group, you had brought up about. I saw your Spider-Man cup, and I was like, oh. Spider-Man. And he's like, dude, yeah. And then we started talking about No Way Home.
Literally wear it on my sleeve, right?
So I'm assuming that Spider-Man is your favorite fictional character?
Yep, number one.
Of all time. Why is that? Why is he your favorite? What is it about Webhead that you like?
I guess because he's a bit of an underdog, He grew up a dweeb, an outsider. No one really understands him. Invisible at times. And I feel like we can all kind of relate to that a little bit, and then he puts on the mask and he kind of just dons this new identity where he's confident, he can tease his opponents, and that's kind of how I feel on stage. I feel more alive,
like you're putting on that spider suit.
Like I'm putting on that spider suit.
That's a cool analogy, dude.
Yeah, so I think that's why I've kind of gravitated towards him so much, is that he found his way of just being completely himself.
Plus he moves with a certain finesse, right? And you're a dancer.
Yeah.
Because out of all the
he's got the more slender type of body type, which I guess is probably.
And then he has kind of like his own fighting style. Like he literally created like his own martial arts. Essentially, I was reading a profile about that on some book that I had, and they're like, Spidey essentially just created his like. There's no hero or any character that like moves like he does because of his reflexes and his spider sense. So like. He has a certain finesse in the way that he moves and does things that no other character ever in any like literature of like comic books can like imitate. Like that's just his. Yeah. His style of fighting and the way he does stuff. It's very defensive. Like he just dodges a lot of things.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's interesting. I never thought about that.
Yeah.
So it's funny when I got into Spidey. I guess he's potentially I would really have to sit back and think about it. If he's not my favorite superhero, definitely top 3, I would say. But I got into it like my stepdad had these old like I guess like 70s issues of Amazing, and I saw them, and this is like before I could read, read like legibly. Like I was like 4, I understood some words, but I just the pictures, obviously as a kid you see these colorful panels.
Oh yeah, the red and blue,
right? So the art just like pops, and I was like, oh my gosh. First of all, the thing that drew me to Spider-Man is he just looked cool. I didn't know like I didn't even know if it was a bad guy or good guy. I was just like the little 4-year-old, but I was just like, It's the aesthetics. Honestly, I feel like that's probably why he's one of the most popular characters, just because he looks really cool to look at.
Yeah.
Like, you know?
Yeah. That's really stood the test of time.
And so I was just like, and then he had webs and stuff. And I was like, oh, wow, I always thought spiders were bad, but this guy's just badass.
Yeah, right. 100%.
And Spider-Man actually got me into liking professional wrestling because I remember being a kid. My sister worked at the I guess, cafe or whatever that Walmart had.
Yeah.
And I was a little kid. Me and my mom were going to pick her up from work, and there was they had this like independent wrestling thing out in the parking lot, and one of the guys one of the guys was wearing a full face mask and like kind of like a little spandex bodysuit.
Okay.
And it wasn't like it didn't look like, it wasn't like blue and red with the spider webs and stuff on it, but it was like one solid onesie. It was like, I don't remember if it was like black and gold or something, but it kind of like sort of looked like Spider-Man. And I was like, oh my gosh, that guy is like Spider-Man. And then he was fighting this like bigger, hairy, like mean guy, which was assuming the villain. And then he ended up winning. So they did that on purpose, obviously, to appease to the kids.
That's
and
so funny.
I just remember like, oh my gosh, those guys, it's like, that was Spider-Man, the guy from those books. And then I started getting into professional wrestling from that. And then I picked it up and I was like, oh, Hulk Hogan and just all this stuff.
Yeah.
Like Stone Cold Steve Austin, whatever.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And it's funny because then years later, as I actually was, reading the literature when I'm like 6 and 7 years old, then I read his origin. And actually he started out being a professional wrestler, making money by beating up like big jacked up dudes because he had super strength and stuff. And I was like, whoa, that's trippy. Like, because I didn't realize he did wrestling.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny. I have a present for you, man.
You have a present for me?
Yeah, I have. I was talking to you about this. You'll see. Hold on.
Okay. I'm excited now.
Get these headphones back on so I can hear my sultry voice.
It is sultry. They're a good podcast voice.
This is for you, sir.
Do I open it now?
Yes, open it now.
Right.
I specifically saved it so we could open it on the show.
All right. What's we got here? No way. Yes.
So I don't know if you remember me talking to you about.
Show it in the camera.
Show it. Pull it up.
Man.
Bully Maguire.
Oh, this is so awesome.
It's him when he's on the phone and Dr. Connors is like, hey, you probably shouldn't get that on me. He's like, oh, and he's pretending to fall asleep and he's making the chick like go make him cookies.
Yeah.
Like,
you got any with nuts?
Yeah. Go make me some. Yeah. I was telling you about that at the retreat because I had ordered myself one. So here's what happened.
I remember this now.
The story. I wanted to order it so I could wear it at the premiere of the movie, which came out, I think, the 17th of December. And like, I ordered it like back in November. And then I guess it was Christmas. It got behind, but I didn't get that until after like New Year's. And then I was like, dang it. And then they sent me a message and like, hey, we're so glad we sent you your shirt. You should have received it December the 26th or something like that. And I was like, I never received anything. And they're like, oh, sorry, we'll just send you another one. And so that ended up coming in, and I'd already put off to get another shirt. And so I ended up getting 2 shirts.
Let's go.
And I was like, you know what? I'm going to give JJ this other shirt.
That's so great.
Bully Maguire. It's a large. I don't know what size
That's perfect. Yeah. Thank you, man.
Dude.
That's awesome.
Rock it, man. Bully Maguire.
Now get on this.
Now dig on this.
Yeah, dig on this.
Yeah,
oh, man.
Dude. Heck yeah.
Yeah, no.
But we still got to get. We were talking about watching Spider-Man 3 at some point. You, me, and Gio and Seth.
Yeah, we got to get the boys together.
Still got to do that, bro.
Yeah.
All right, so we get to the part of the show where to take us a little bit deeper. It's crazy. I feel like I could talk to you for like, I don't know, 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah,
I said the same thing about Brandon. It's just
feel like that too.
Maybe at some point in the future,
scratching the surface right now.
Yeah, these shows will like stretch themselves out to like 3 or 4 hours, maybe. Maybe I don't know. We'll see what happens. JJ, Mr. Butler, what are the things that you struggling with in life right now, man? What are you wrestling with? Monsters under your bed or in your closet, sir?
This is a question I've been thinking about because I've been listening to your show for a little bit now. And I guess I have 2 big things that I wrestle with that always just rear their ugly head back at me. And I think the first one is the 10th commandment, which is do not covet your neighbor. I've had to really teach myself how to be happy for other people, especially being in New York when you're in an audition room and you're constantly hearing, no, you didn't book it.
Yeah.
this, that, your headshot's not good, or it doesn't look like you, or you need more experience, or go do this and that. And then you see other people that book it immediately, and trying to feel some sort of joy for them is tough. I've found, and that's actually ended a few relationships prior, just because I either couldn't feel joy for someone who booked a really awesome thing and everyone else around them is happy except for me. I'm having a pity party. And then the same thing, I kind of received it too, where I booked something and then the person I was dating at the time was not happy for me, or just couldn't find any sense of, not even a congratulations really. So that's probably number one, is trying to be happy. And I've gotten a lot better at that now, especially being married to Lauren and now having a baby, and just remembering that we're on the same team. Mm-hmm. And the ship doesn't float without all of us, type of thing. So we all have to kind of be on board with whatever is going on, whether she's working or doing a gig, or whether I'm working or doing a gig. We got to all just hang together. And the second thing I think I struggle with, this has been really hitting me lately, especially with just all this moving around and figuring out my life and my career, is just doubting myself. Especially financially, I guess, because all my work right now is all over town. I'm here and there, up and down, and trying to make ends meet, and it just feels like I'm constantly drowning.
Yeah.
And it's a lesson that I have to learn over and over again, because God is so consistent and he's there every single time. There's not a single time where he's led me astray. But I guess it's when I'm in the thick of it and I'm doing the work and I'm feeling fulfilled in the work and it's still not making ends meet. That's where that doubt creeps in,
Yeah. Like, are you good enough?
Yeah.
Should I even be doing this?
Yeah. Should I do this? Should I just completely switch career paths? All those things creep in. And that's probably the biggest thing I'm struggling with right at the moment. Yeah.
Is your faith like a big catalyst for what you turn to try to get relief as an outlet
100%,
for that kind of stuff?
Yeah. 100%. I pray out loud a lot. I spend a lot of time in the car. That's why I get to listen to your show a lot.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
That makes me happy.
I'm stretched as far as Huntsville and as far south as Montevallo. So I see a lot of time in the car. So I'm either...
It's good for reflection and meditation.
Yeah.
Stuff.
100%. So I spend a lot of time praying. I generally either will do audiobooks or podcasts in the car. I can't do a lot of music in the car because that's where when I'm in class.
Oh, right, because you got to move.
Yeah. And if I'm playing a song, then I start choreographing it to it in my head, and then I just hit on repeat, and the next thing you know, I can
see you driving, and you're just like,
yeah, nope, again, go back 30 seconds. If I go boom,
I just read that red light. Damn it!
I'm like, now where's Mitchell's podcast?
That's interesting, man. That's cool the way your mind works that way.
Yeah.
That's really good, man. So I ask a two-parter question that's pretty deep, and I guess you can kind of navigate it around the way however you would like. But I actually asked Brandon this question. I kind of mix it up. Sometimes I ask this one, and sometimes I ask things about telephone time machines and whatnot. But I'll ask you this one. Oh, yeah,
I heard about it. Yeah.
I'll ask you this one specifically. What is one of the saddest, most hard parts of your life that you had to endure, and what did you take away from it at the time?
Depression runs in my family generationally, and it's actually gotten the best of a couple of my family members that I know.
Is this clinical depression?
Yeah.
Okay.
And when I was a teenager, I guess, I was pretty depressed and suicidal. And trying to just navigate the dark alleys in my head seemed like it was impossible. Just no way out except for just ending it all. And that was kind of coming out of a season of life. I was in 4th grade. I'd basically lost a year of school. I was failing out. So my mom pulled me out and homeschooled me. So through 5th through 8th grade, I homeschooled with her my mother trying to catch me back up so she didn't have to hold me back.
Right.
Luckily, didn't have to hold me back. but just trying to navigate, seeing all my friends back at school, and I'm at home and I'm homeschooling, and what the heck is going on? Just all these psychological dark alleyways that I went through, and I was like, I should just end it all. That will ultimately take the pain away. And I went to a therapist, and we tried to pinpoint, exactly what the problem was. And it's funny that we mentioned it now, but it truly was my friendships with people and the camaraderie. I think now that I'm kind of realizing this now, but that still just rings so powerfully to me today. Just how much I need that, and how much that pulled me out of a very, very dark place,
like decompressed you.
Yeah. Just having those people around me with similar interests and similar headspace that we could just talk things out and just hang out, really. Like that, just I get easily attached in that manner, I guess. That's why the retreat meant a lot to me too.
Yeah, I was about to say, in lieu of you saying that, I think it's the point of like what you were talking about with like the retreat, is what you just said, like your friends and loved ones like helped kind of like depress you, or unpress you, I guess, rather. You're depressed, so they unpress you. And so like the retreat was kind of like that in a concentrated dose with like different people.
I'm just kind of now realizing that.
Makes a lot of sense. Wow. Okay. What is one of the happiest, most joyous moments of your life, and what'd you take away from that?
Well, if you can guess, I just had it. Having Lennon Ray, that first breath, that first cry. I've never felt that way in my entire life. And I was anticipating it, because we had to have a C-section, of course. So I didn't get to see anything that was going on. I didn't get to cut the cord or anything. I'm there with Lauren,
right,
who's got the epidural in, so she's not really feeling anything other than a little bit of tugging.
Yeah.
But just head to head with her, and tears already starting to well up in my eyes, and just telling Lauren that she's doing a great job and that she's going to be okay, and we're so close to having our baby girl. And then snap, just like that first cry, just completely melted. And what did I take away from that? I'm still taking it. I'm still processing, I guess, because the first week was just tears. I would just look at that baby and I would just cry. And I couldn't believe how much I loved this child. And my dad actually said something that really wrecked my brain. He said, just take this example of how much you love this child and understand that God loves us even more than that. I'm thinking through all the I've done in my life and all the terrible things that I've done.
Yeah.
And how God can still love me more than I love my child. Seems like an impossibility.
Sure.
So
like you
just
can't comprehend the emotion.
Yeah. Just trying to wrap all that around my head has been truly astonishing.
That's amazing. And you know what? Like, I'm for the first time ever actually going to ask you the other alternating questions too, just because I just want to now.
Okay,
you seem kind of intrigued.
Shoot me with them.
The other question was like, like Matt's a genius over here. He built a telephone time machine, sir, and we give it to you.
Matt.
Yeah, he's a gajillionaire. You would never know, right? He's one of those like secret billionaires that's just super subtle and super chill. Lives in the middle of society, hides in plain sight. But it's a telephone time machine, man, and you can pick it up and you can dial yourself in the past and talk to a past JJ. And this could be 2 weeks ago or 20 years ago or however long ago. But let's say it's a time that you needed to talk to JJ the most in the past. Like maybe that JJ in the past needs a conversation from his future self because he's down in his luck or he's at his lowest point. Which JJ do you call? And what do you say to that gentleman?
First thing I would say was to call myself when I was going through that super dark, depressing time of my life when I was a teenager. But if I had to give another answer, a JJ that could perhaps understand why I'm calling a little bit more, was a time in college where I went through another depressing time and just not seeing a career for myself, or is New York going to happen type of thing. All these questions going through my head, and give that past JJ my life motto, which I wear on my hat actually, which is Lineo, which stands for losing is not an option. and you gotta pick up and fight every day, no matter the cost, because at the end of the day, it's worth it.
Right.
It's worth it. You're worth it, and you are enough. You just got to get up and you got to fight every single day.
Wow. That's heavy, dude.
Yeah, that's the brand, actually.
That's good, though. That's really cool.
Yeah.
All right. And then in finality, closing out here. One day, and hopefully it's a super long time from now, but what kind of legacy do you, JJ Butler, want to leave behind? Like, what memories does people have to go off of you? What's etched into your gravestone? What songs do they sing? Or what dance numbers do they do in honor of you and who you were? What legacy do you leave behind? What do you want to be known for? What's your legend?
That's a great question.
Thank you.
A tough one. I would love people to remember me by my choreography. I think that would be really awesome, and my creative works. But I think more than anything, I want people to remember how I made them feel. I take a lot of pride in just being comfortable with just about anyone that I have in the room, and then being able to feel that comfort and be open or be their true, genuine selves with me. I think that's what I want to be remembered by. It's just being able to be comfortable.
Nice. Dude, that was awesome. Thanks for being on the show today, brother.
It's been so fun.
Bam.
So fun. I can't wait till the next time we get to hang.
Yeah.
With the group, with the boys.
With the boys, like something. Yeah, I'd love to meet your little girl also.
Lennon, man.
Before we go, though, let me get you to plug in any of your professional endeavors, where you're dancing at, what you're doing, classes, teaching, yada, yada, yada. Anything and everything. Plug in. Okay. Use that camera. Tell us.
Well, my personal account on just about all social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, I guess. I don't use Facebook much. At JJ Butler 18 is where you can find me there. And then for all of my choreography and my brand, Linneo, is at Linneo by JJ Butler. And I have a website too, linneobyjjbutler.com. And you can find out all things about what this is and what it means. And you can buy a shirt if you want. And you can look at all my choreography. I think it's pretty awesome.
Oh, yeah. You got to send me those links so I can put it up on this episode.
Yeah, I'll do this before I leave today.
That is so cool. Dude, thanks so much for being on the show, man. Like, we definitely got to keep connected, brother.
Yeah.
You know?
And yeah, podcast or not. We
next time you got to wear that shirt. I'll wear mine. We'll be twinsies.
Heck
like, yeah. We're twins here.
Yeah. We'll find the other nerds out there too, I'm sure.
Heck yeah, man. Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? Today I had a good buddy of mine on, a new friend. I love making new friends in this point in life. Mr. JJ Butler, dancing. He's really awesome. New dad. He's a cool guy. Check out his stuff, please. And check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts for the audio platform. For the video content, go to YouTube, like, share, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell for more content. Find out what people in everyday society are wrestling with and how they can overcome it, and then how you can use their struggles and stuff for your own salvation for things. JJ talked about a lot of things that I feel like a lot of people can relate to, depression and stuff. And it's so interesting too, because like knowing you, like you're this really sweet guy, you're good looking and talented and all this stuff, but just to hear that you deal with those things it's so humanizing, right? Because I meet a lot of people that I just feel like are larger than life, and I'm not trying to blow smoke, but you seem like that. And then for you to deal with these like mortal problems, it's refreshing for me. Not that I get pleasure from your pain, but you know what I mean. It's like, oh yeah. It's like, oh yeah, that person too. I thought only I was dealing with that kind of stuff, And so for anybody listening to this episode, I feel like it's just important. Like JJ finds solace in like community and fellowship, and that's a huge, huge thing. People need people. That's why like the worst thing you can do to like a prison inmate is like they're in prison, they're in this box, this cage with real life monsters. But the worst thing you can do is take them away from that and put them in a box by themselves. And so it's just really interesting. And I feel like, there's something that, and then, faith, like people use faith to pull them out. I feel like it's a really good remedy. It's a good medicine for stuff. So if anybody's listening to this, think about that. What does that mean to you? Something to think about and sleep on, have a drink on, do whatever. Do a dance number on. How about that? What do you wrestle with, and how can you beat it, folks? One love.